So long, Sean McDermott. It ends today after 9 highly successful seasons. So much to say. 98-50. Would you have taken 50-50 from whoever was going to fill in for Rex Ryan 9 years ago? It got to a point where, to his and their credit, expectations rose so high that a second-round playoff loss just was not enough. I don't agree with whoever this was that said, like, we all would have assumed the Super Bowl. We talk about this every day. And even without, Lamar Jackson too, and Joe Burrow, but Mahomes going on the road was going to be hard. And because of today's news, I'm not sure how much time we'll spend on what happened Saturday. But an incredible back-and-forth game that was very winnable.
Yeah, the burden of explaining what's a catch and what's an interception and the officiating sort of has fallen by the wayside.
Fine. I won't miss it.
I wasted – there's a good lesson in here. Wasting time in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, thinking about how you want to say whatever it is you believe to be correct. Don't waste that time because I'm never going to need to say any of it.
Are you shocked?
And I wasn't preparing to talk about Sean McDermott not being here. And yet, when I got up, that's what I was faced with. Yes. Yeah, I'm stunned. Stunned might be a little too strong. I mean, I didn't think it was warranted. I wasn't calling for it. But I think I did say on Saturday night, like, I'm open to having every conversation. I think they should have every conversation. Like, let's try to figure out what is keeping us from getting where we want to go. But I still don't think I would have expected this result from that.
Why do you think it happened?
I think it happened because I believe there has been friction between Beane and McDermott, and Beane walked out of the room. Like he won. And I thought all year, if you really listen to this show, I think a lot of our regular listeners who like us and like the show and respect how we do what we do would know. Sometimes you think you know which way the wind is blowing, and I thought the wind was blowing Brandon Beane out to sea and Sean McDermott to safety, and it turns out the opposite was true.
Well, that would be a particular question for the owner. Because when we've talked about McDermott more than Beane over the years, like, what could happen? A season ends and, a certain faction of the fan base calls for McDermott to be let go, or even Beane. And we tend to say, I think together, we tend to say, like, maybe, but I don't really sense it. And there are times when I think it's the farthest thing away from what Terry Pegula would do. So maybe it was that one of them had to go. And I think coach is easier for an owner. This might not be what it was. Are they going to talk?
I don't know. I just asked you. I was confused yesterday because I was seeing a few reporters alluding to, like, talking to players at locker cleanout, but it did not feel like the big, heavy press that it usually is. I don't know. Maybe that's because it's a Sunday. So I spent a lot of the day yesterday thinking, is that all happening today? Like, are these guys going to all talk today? What? And so I asked you a little while ago, like, is there anything scheduled? I haven't heard anything about, Brandon Beane now would be the person, if not Pete Goelli and Terry Pegula, to talk about, this move they've made here, even, before they settle on who's going to replace Sean McDermott.
It needs to happen.
So I'm a little surprised that has not been announced yet, that there's not a, Wednesday or even tomorrow media, or even today at 5:00. There's been nothing. I think that's kind of odd, I think, in a circumstance like this.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's still pretty fresh. But, I mean, an owner in this situation can get, irrespective of relationships, still can get to a point where, like, okay, well, just like fans do. It's been 9 years. We come up short every time. Let's make a change. Mm-hmm. And then I think Pegula probably would, like, a couple of friends have texted me this, like, why not Beane or why not both? And I don't know. Like, I wouldn't expect Pegula to want to do both together because of what, the success they've had and what that entails. I think mostly it's what that entails is you're going out, whether it's Pete Gwelly or someone whose name people know from football, maybe better, somebody to sort of run a process, and then you get to a GM and a coach and you sort of build it from the top down. And it doesn't really surprise me that he wouldn't opt for that, because this is safer for him.
Sure, a move on Beane might have meant like a whole new structure to player personnel, pro scouting, college scout. Like a lot of those guys, and women too. A lot of the people in those jobs might go somewhere with Beane or just be out because Beane is out.
And it makes coach
and maybe
different.
Restructuring that is too much. Whereas coach, you're also going to have that, but a new coach coming in is going to have, I think it's easier to put the coaching staff together than it is a whole front office. At this time of the year especially.
Who wants to go to a situation as a manager where they're put with a coach, right? I mean, even if it's a little old-fashioned, it doesn't really work that way. It works the other way. So this is easier. Brandon, take it.
Tell me what we should do.
Just do it. Yeah, or just do it.
No.
Man, it goes like this sometimes. McDermott, for all the years, the seasons end, and even like week to week, he's not everybody's perfect cup of tea, Like he's just not, whether it's the fact that he's not an offensive coach or there's, what the coach speak stuff, a lot of cliches, whatever. I don't mean that to be negative toward him, but he's just not everybody's ideal for the head coach of this team. Yet, this is, it happens like this. This season ends in a year where I think maybe he got more credit for what they were as a team than ever. Like they did not have Hyde and Poyer playing every play and doing it all, and a prime Trey White and just Milano. Like they got old. It is some of the same names, but they were really challenged on defense. And their last win 8 days ago is a game where, even nationally, it was like, wow, what a great coaching job.
Right.
And that ends up being it. So there's that. There's so many different ways to look at this. I know for myself, you talk about like waking up in the morning. I was outside working with the snow. I was told in Grand Island we would not have snow.
Like ever or today?
Like this. But today was brutal, like impassable, white out. So I'm out there. I come inside and find out. And I wasn't thinking about this like happening today, but I wouldn't say I was shocked either. Somewhere between surprised and shocked. If shocked is 10 and surprised is like 6, I'm 8.
Yeah.
Like something eventually does break.
Yeah, I thought after Saturday something would happen. Even more significant than just, say, a new offensive coordinator. Like, I really thought it was possible, maybe even likely, one of these guys would be gone, if not both. But I really thought it would be Beane ahead of McDermott, just the way everything was laying out this season with the roster, with some of the narrative you're describing. And it wasn't just the playoff. It came to a head in the playoff game because it was one of only 4 games in the league, or however, 6 games in the league last weekend. And so it got a lot more attention than a regular season game would get. And that's just how it is in the playoffs. Everything's enhanced and elevated. But I do want to say I respect wanting to do something. I am surprised that they chose this, but I respect that they, you can't just keep going and going and going. It's been a lot of people have been saying that you were like that last offseason.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Even though the script really didn't fit that scenario that I think you described as I recall it.
Pretty close.
It still is a situation where can you just live with continuing to go? And I would mention, and it sounds maybe foolish now, maybe I should pretend I never said it. I never thought they would do this before they moved into the new stadium. I thought McDermott had earned enough of Pegula's favor and trust as the coach of this team, as successful as they were, and even as wanting as you were for the next steps. I never thought that they would make a move like this before that happened, and it makes me want to respect it. Hopefully it is with, the right reasons and good reasons, and they can attract and really attract. I think they'll attract the right candidates, good candidates, great candidates. Whether they pick the right one or not, remains to be seen. We're not going to know that for, maybe a year or longer.
Well, yeah, I was starting to say about this morning, like coming inside and having to process this. I mean, Saturday night, I was at wit's end about doing this job after that loss and this season, because it's another one where you can do anything you want with it. If you want to blame coaching, you can. You can always do that. People always do that. You can blame the roster. Who's Brandon Cooks? Even what about it? Somebody else blames the refs, and then we just go, and Allen had turnovers, just go around and around and around. And you could hear it in my voice, or if not, or even my words on Saturday night. Like, I'm just dreading this reality. But separately, I did say before the season, I wanted to be somewhere interesting on what to do about this topic with McDermott. And I guess what I will say I won't be able to live with is losing in the playoffs again, giving up in the 30s. And it happened. And it happened against Denver, even. And it's just like, oh, okay, I guess I've already signed for this. I guess I've already said it, that if they lose a playoff game and they give up in the 30s on defense, and it's against Denver, sorry to condescend, but still, it's not Kansas City. Like, I guess at some point you have to draw a line, and now I'm sitting there going, but these turnovers and the injuries and other things. I mean, they lose Trey White for one play, and it's a touchdown.
They lose the replacement safety, like their third string safety, replace them with a fourth string safety, and that's only a handful of plays, and that's a touchdown.
But you can't go on forever.
Yeah, when you said that Saturday night, I pushed back on it. Like, I'm not ready to hear that this is the defense's fault with all these giveaways. But still, I mean, it ended up that something had to give, and this is what gave. Yeah, the reason I think I said stunned at first and said maybe that's too strong is because yesterday, for me anyway, when I woke up and saw that McDermott, and this is probably just circumstantial. Tim Graham, for one, has written a piece that says, as of yesterday morning, he believed he was safe, according to sources. There was nothing that he thought was happening. So
who thought was happening?
McDermott, that he wasn't like I'm in trouble here.
Well, that's questionable.
But when I got up Sunday and learned that he had called the press box back from the plane or whatever the machinations of that were, like he needed to talk more about the Brandon Cooks play, I got a little worried for him. I like is he worried? Like why is he protesting this much? It turns out that's his last act as the Bills coach, is complaining about officiating, which I don't love for him. Mm-hmm. But there was a little bit, as much as I didn't think that this was in the wind, recognizing how he was acting, which to me was very much out of character. I shouldn't say that's wrong. I don't know this man and his entire ethos, but as the Bills coach, I was surprised to hear him protesting that loudly, and a second time after his post-game appearance that we aired live on our show. That had me yesterday thinking, is something up? But then nothing happened yesterday, and I just wasn't expecting to wake up today and find out that this was what was going to happen.
No, myself either. If it's going to happen, sooner is better than later. I mean, just get on with it. You've got 8 continuing coaching vacancies in the league. You've got candidates, big names. And it's been a long time for us with this, but for as long as it lasts, there's you have to thread the needle on, especially when it's sort of the gravity of McDermott having been the coach of the team for so long, sort of analyzing and respecting that And then also, okay, like the time is right now for replacing him, I guess. I mean, this is the sooner if you wait a week to ponder whether to do this, you've probably lost out on some of your options. So now it's also, it's can you believe it? And why did it happen? And should it have happened? And all those conversations and questions. And then it's also, okay, well,
Who's on my list?
Who's next?
Right.
Who's next?
Right. And there is some timing to be considered there. Like Clint Kubiak, for example, is a name that's been already mentioned. I don't know how prominently. I just know I've seen it 3, 4, 5 times this afternoon since this news broke, and there's been more and more people offering opinions about it. He's the offensive coordinator for Seattle. They can't talk to him until they lose now. Or win. Right, if they lose next Sunday, then they can talk to him right after that. If they make the Super Bowl, they have to wait until after the Super Bowl. That's the way that works. Like, that window is now closed for coordinators that are still alive.
So here, this one candidate comes with his own set of, stratagem. Like, just do I want to wait or do I want to, move on? And I don't know. Like, some of that is who else is available.
Right.
I mean, a couple of the more obvious ideas are not ideas where I would feel like I have to succumb to them, to put it one way. That's Brian Daboll. That's Joe Brady or, quote, Davis Webb. I mean, like, what? But, how much say does Allen have? And these are offensive names. Some are more familiar to us than others, but all have traces to the Bills, to say the least. I don't know. It's like this is all happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have offensive names and offensive names with Bills ties. Then you have like a legends bracket if you want to go to like
Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike McCarthy's exactly a legend, but whatever. He's won a Super Bowl. If they're after that, there is that category. There is guys who've won. Maybe not that recently, Tomlin and McCarthy both. You got to go back a long ways to find their Super Bowls, but they have done it. So if that's what you're interested in, you got those guys over there. You've got the names that have ties to the Bills, like you mentioned. Then the other bracket is, maybe up-and-coming offensive minds. Kubiak's on that list. The Rams passing game coordinator. I've seen that name. Is that Scheelhaus? I've seen that name a few different places, and that's the same boat as I just described with Clint Kubiak, the Seattle guy. They got to lose. And one of those guys will lose on Sunday, so you'll be able to talk to one of them if you want to, but not until after next weekend.
I don't have a favorite idea yet. Maybe this is all going to happen in the next 72 hours. I don't know. I don't have a favorite idea yet.
Yeah, I wonder if they did this with a clean slate,
mind, yeah.
or a name like somebody that they absolutely know. Like this, I know this guy will want. I like him. We like his style. I know he'll want to do this job, and we should want him to do it. Maybe that name is already out there in permanent marker on a chalkboard somewhere. At One Bills Drive. I don't know. Or if they're going in and they're going to conduct, like Tennessee has talked to every single candidate, it seems, that's been available through this process. Are the Bills going to do that? I mean, there's a couple of guys that are already, of course, off the list because they got hired heading into the weekend or on the weekend. Harbaugh finally got everything ironed out with the Giants and Stefanski with Atlanta. But the rest of the names are all still out there. Mike McDaniel is still out there. Daboll, who we've already mentioned, is still out there.
Mike McDaniel is such a fun idea for me, or fun or funny. I like him, so I'm not saying anything, sarcastic. But come on, no way do the Bills hire a coach that they have abused for the last several years.
I would think not.
Right. What you want, I think you go one of two ways. You go, this is our new Josh Allen coach. And the rest of it, we'll roll the dice. I mean, we'll do whatever it is. I mean, interesting to have Brandon Beane sort of captain this, but either we have we didn't have this with McDermott. We got close, but not really a coach where he and Allen can sort of like synchronize and hit the ground running. Either there's that, or there's like a sort of higher level of credibility, which is tough. I mean, you're talking about older names, and that would be, McDaniel is just as good as I think he is as an offensive coach. You can't. It's the Bills hiring Rex. They just destroyed it. Well, let's go get the guy that we. This is the opposite of that, actually. I'm realizing. Let's just go get a coach that we beat all the time. And I don't know. Does that feel right now? How do you increase in credibility or gravitas moving to Mike McDaniel? I don't think you do. So, what exactly do they want? Is there someone in mind? We just don't know these answers yet. What a day, though. Hail and farewell, Sean McDermott. I mean, 98-50. 98-50. 8 playoff wins. Bills history, here's all of it. Marv Levy, 11 playoff wins. Sean McDermott, 8. Lou Saban, 2. Chuck Knox, 1. 66 years. That's the whole list.
I say that's a little more than admirable.
That's the whole list. Admirable.
Yeah. That can be a word you stumble on.
I'm ready to talk about that.
Yeah.
Admirable. I mean, even if you spell it right. That's pathetic. For McDermott, after what's happened for almost a decade, admirable. It's like a breakup letter for someone you didn't really like. You are an admirable person. I didn't love you at all, but I admire you.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Bills. Wow. Who wrote it? That'll be the big one. Who wrote the Canuck letter? Who wrote this press release? Those are the big questions people are asking. All right, so Ken Clausen wrote the Canuck letter, by the way, before you ask me. Eric Wood at 4 and Sal Capaccio at 5. We'll look for your calls, and you may have them. 803-0550. It's day 1 of this. Day 0. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, thanks for listening.